This is the Holy Mountain Podcast, where we discuss what it means to find rest, regain perspective, and reconnect with the world around us. Welcome back, everybody. This is Shane Oehler with my fantastic wife,
Rebekah Oehler. Look, I said my last name that time too.
Yeah, that's great. I was thinking about whether or not we need to do that, but then I was thinking of other podcasts I listen to, and they
always introduce themselves.
Do first and last names. Yeah, so
very formal.
We'll keep it going.
Alrighty.
Okay, so this is episode 4, and we've kind of laid the framework and foundation for the organization. So hopefully, if you're listening to this one, you've already listened to those to just get a better understanding of Holy Mountain and, like what we're about overall. But we thought it would be good to tell our story.
Yeah.
Of how we met, kind of that whole process that has kind of like led us to this point, just for you guys all to get a understanding of who it is that is talking, I guess.
Well, going off of that, getting a better picture of who it is talking, I was going to preface our first episode that we put out. There is a point. Shane says he doesn't remember after editing it, but I vividly remember there's a chunk where I go full mom brain and I may have rambled and repeated my point.
I think it's just nothing new to me.
Yeah, exactly. So it's normal for you, but I apologize if I rambled, but also my actions might not change.
I was going to say, like we being me and then like Becca's friends, kind of like poke fun at her, call her backstory Becca.
Yes.
She tends to go on these elaborate explanations of things.
But they're so necessary.
I mean, you say that, but then you also just feel like you rambled in a previous episode. So
I don't think I was giving backstory though. I think I was just like talking in circles. Like there was no information added. I just couldn't say what I was trying to say.
That's fair.
Oh man, it was a rough one. That's what we get for podcasting at the end of the day though.
Yep.
Give myself grace.
That's right. It's okay.
Anyways, going off of who we are.
Yep.
What were you going to say on that?
Nothing. Just jump into it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So start at the very beginning.
The very beginning.
Sound of Music reference.
When you first saw me
at the very beginning.
Never seen it.
I know.
Okay. So we first met in 2016. I think we talked about this briefly in an earlier episode, but we met at Camp Tapawingo in Oregon.
Shout out.
Yeah, this was a camp that I grew up going to and was there every year in some capacity from second grade until a year after I graduated college.
Which also, isn't that camp where different generations of your family met?
Yeah, so we met there, my parents met there, and my grandparents on my mom's side met there.
That is like so crazy.
So
were you expecting to meet your person at camp? Going and knowing that?
I think everybody has the camp crushes. Oh, going and knowing that?
Yeah.
I don't know if
obviously your summer
that.
Camp crush always, yes.
I don't know if I knew that until we were actually together.
That's wild.
Yeah. So.
That is crazy. Yeah, so we met in 2016 at Camp Tapawingo. My family and I had just changed churches. I think for youth group, in all honesty. And so we were going to the youth group. It was a small youth group. And I had always wanted to be a camp counselor, but we were never like plugged in at the right church that was doing that. And it was like an easy process. I don't know. It just seemed like other places, other churches that we had gone to went to other camps that already had counselors set up. Yeah. So anyways, did the leadership retreat because I was like, heck yeah, I want to be a camp counselor. Want to do this forever. And then we met. Yep. And it was love at first sight. For you.
Yeah, I was like, I don't think you said that, but yeah, the leadership retreat, it was one of those things like if you wanted to serve in the summers, that was kind of the expectation that we would be like attending this leadership retreat and then kind of like building on from there. But I do remember, so again, at this point, I've been going to this camp for
your whole life.
12 years, 10 years, maybe 11, something like that. And I pretty much knew the people who like went. And so that first evening, like get to camp, and I remember seeing Becca and like not knowing who she was. And so like, obviously like I noticed that in general. But then also I just remember like seeing her smile and like being very drawn to that. Like, oh wow, this like really pretty girl, like good smile, like seems like a happy person. And then we got randomly paired like for an activity together. Mm-hmm. And I remember hearing you like sharing, and for sure stood out to me just like your heart for God. Like I had not heard, I think like somebody our age at that point, especially like, yeah, a pretty girl our age at that point, fair, yeah, talking about their faith in God the way you did. And so that was instantly like what stood out to me and kind of like what drew me to you. Mm-hmm. But yeah, what was it like for you?
For me, I remember you got there later than the other like youth groups that were there for the leadership retreat. And so I remember we were all just playing in the gym and I was meeting everybody for the first time. And like you, everybody had kind of grown up at camp. So they all knew each other. All the youth pastors like went way back. And so I was the new girl. And so I was meeting a bunch of people for the first time, kind of sticking to like my crew and letting them lead me around. But I remember everyone, you know, it's kind of like that thing where everyone's like waiting for all their friends to show up. And so they were like, another one is here, another one's here. And then they were all talking about, is Shane coming? And so, man, the way that they were talking about you was crazy. I was like, who is this guy? Yeah, basically just, I always joke, even to this day, everyone who knows Shane, it's almost like a man crush, like the bromance. It's a real thing. And so that's kind of the way that they were talking about you. And I was like, wow, these people are just like infatuated. And then you walk in and everybody stops what they're doing because Shane arrives. Even if they're not even going up to talk to him, they're just standing there watching.
It's so weird.
It was crazy.
And I would say like, I'm pretty oblivious to this. Like
yes, you were.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm glad.
Right.
If you weren't, and it probably would have meant you were a bit of like a attention seeker.
Right.
So, and like, that would have been a no.
Big headed and all that. But
exactly.
Yeah, I'm kind of oblivious, like just thinking like, yeah, these are my friends. Like, these are fun people that I enjoy.
Yeah. So then
it's funny to hear it from your perspective.
I know. And so then that is like, yeah, I don't know. I think from that point, I was just like, oh, this guy. I mean, not that I looked at you like you were on a pedestal, but everybody else put that energy off. So I was kind of just thinking you wouldn't even really notice me. Mm-hmm. And then, yeah, when we met and we had the icebreaker, it was like, oh my gosh, like I got paired with this guy. I bet everybody else is upset at me that it wasn't them who got to get paired up with you. But yeah, I mean, I don't think I was like overly impressed because I think everyone like set their expectation for you impressed. Like so high that I was just like, oh yeah, this guy's like really awesome. Like I get it. And then that just carried on into the summers. It was just like the same environment, the same energy from everybody else towards you, the same interactions with you that I was having of like, yeah, like you were super solid. Mm-hmm. You were super grounded in your faith. Everyone like looked up to you, whether to like problem solve or to like lead as an example or, you know, all those things. So I was definitely like getting the hype for sure. Mm-hmm. But I just never had you on my radar of like, I never thought you would have viewed me in any way other than like just a part of the group.
Mm-hmm. Which was funny. Yeah. Cause even the first night, like after we go back to our cabins, I remember like asking some of the other guys like, hey, who was that like Becca girl, like, does anybody know her? Kind of like, tell me more about her. And some of the guys were like, oh yeah, she's with me. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, nice, like just but it was like, yeah, just classic guy territorial behavior.
Right.
Where, and again, after like we actually started dating and I heard the backstory, like there was nothing there.
Yeah.
But they were just trying to claim you and yeah.
Yeah. It's like if I'm up against Shane, I don't stand a chance.
I don't know.
Well, they didn't.
But,
so
yeah. But yeah, so that was the first time we met, and then counseled that next summer. Well, yeah. I'm just saying like that next summer counseled.
Yep.
We definitely like interacted more.
But I was only out there for 1 week a year. So we only saw each other that 1 week.
Yeah.
Or leadership retreat sometimes. I think there was one where you weren't even there.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Because we would have done like that 2016 leadership retreat and then camp that summer. And then 2017 leadership retreat, camp that summer.
I'm pretty sure I was at all of them. There's one I don't remember you being at, but you claim you were there. But
I don't remember.
Either way, yeah. So we just kind of had those like limited interactions with each other. Like for just like you're saying, a week in the summer, maybe a weekend in the spring.
Yeah.
And yeah, I remember like not ever being totally sure of you just in general, just because like you would do things where I'm like, wow, I think she hates me.
It's like when the boy throws the rock at the girl he has a crush on, right. Except I'm the boy.
Yeah. She's like trying to drown me in the pond or, just like making fun of me, just like ruthlessly getting kids to come over and bully me, It's how I show my love. I mean, now I know that, but yeah. Then I was like, wow, I think like she just must really not stand me. But then like the end of the week, I remember like you came over and gave me an awkward hug and like said something
was it awkward?
Nice. And I was like,
probably for you, not for me.
I mean, yeah, it was awkward for me because I thought you hated me. So I probably thought you were going to like beat me up or something.
You flinch.
Yeah. So then I remember thinking like, okay, like maybe she doesn't hate me.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, would have been then the summer of 2018
that things took off for us.
Oh, well, I guess. So then 2017, the end of that summer.
Oh,
I was planning on asking you on a date. But before I did that, you texted me asking me for boy advice because you had just met somebody at a wedding. And I was like, wow, I must have really misinterpreted our dynamic. That's when you let, because at this point, like we had
insecure Shane took over.
Yeah, we had been like talking a little bit, like messaging and texting, like stuff like that, and definitely thought like there was interest there. But then, yeah, before I asked you on the date, you asked me for boy advice. So then, almost like again, the first night we met, like I backed off, like, oh, okay, like, yeah.
Yeah.
There's somebody else there she's interested in.
Which like now it's like that totally was an unintentional friend zone. Like,
well, you said you were trying to make me jealous.
Well, I wasn't necessarily trying to make you jealous. I was just like being dumb. Like I didn't think that that would like scare you off. It was like literally I was in a moment live, like on a trip with my friend. And there was just like a weird situation with a guy. And I was I happened to be talking to you on a pretty regular basis. So then I was like, I'm already talking to you. I'm going to tell you about this crazy situation. So that was my side. But then you took that as like me seeking like, so you're a boy. Like, what do you think I should do? Like, I'm interested in this guy.
I mean,
but that wasn't the case.
So
it wasn't the case. I mean, I was flattered that a boy was.
So I backed off at that point. I was like, oh, message received.
But tell him you literally had a typed out. You were about to send a message.
Yeah, I literally
typed out.
I was like
asking me
seconds away from like.
I just can't believe if you would have sent that, I would have said yes.
Yeah. But then before I could send it, she sent this wedding guy text.
Yeah.
So then I just delete my message.
It's such a shame. But I did have to live through a hardship in my life.
Yeah. So then the next summer, you were freshly out of a relationship.
Yeah.
And I think I just like posted something on Instagram because at this point I was like the program intern at the camp. And I think I just posted something about needing help, or that we would be opening up applications like for outdoor school and stuff. And so
yeah. And
like,
at this
you were
point,
in the
like you
picture
said,
that I posted. And so then you had messaged me about it.
yeah. And like you said, I had gotten out of my first ever dating relationship. That was only 4.5 months, but everyone makes the joke of like your first breakup is like dramatically traumatizing, even like if it's so stupid. And unfortunately, that was me. I had to live a little bit of life in those 4.5 months.
Yeah.
And at that point, I had sworn off men, and I was like, it's okay, God. I know I've had a desire for marriage and a family, but at this point, like, I'm okay living the rest of my life for you, and it's just me and you against the world. And then I see your post, and so I was like, this feeds right into my calling.
Yep. So then, yeah, we work at outdoor school together. And I
Yeah.
remember that was like, again, like every time we spent time together,
Yeah.
I just remember thinking like, man, I think I really do like this girl. But
And this was nice because it was time that we have never had before, because it's like I had never been working at camp before summer camp. And this is like the end of the school year for the kids in school. and then like, how long is it? Is it 2 weeks?
no, we did
3?
we did 5 weeks of summer
Okay,
outdoor school.
Okay, that's what okay, so it was 5 weeks. I was like, I didn't want to say that and it be like so dramatically off what it actually was. But it was different because it was like a group of us college age kids who are teaching these classes and leading these days every week. But then at the end of the day, the kids go home. And also we're not really counselors either, because like the teachers and like some parents come out to help like wrangle the kids. So we're really just teaching and hanging out. But other than that, like us young adults are just having a friend group. And so we did like develop, shout out Quail Squad.
That's right.
A friend group that to this day I still am like, they mean so much to me. They play a special role. And then we had, the kids would leave at the end of the day. So then we had the evening to hang out together. And that was time you and I had never had before. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I think when things changed for me of thinking if I was on Shane's level or not, is I really, because I had viewed him as this person kind of like out of my league in a sense of like, oh man, this guy's great. And like, he's attractive. He's so like solid. He loves the Lord, like all of these things. I just like didn't even consider you being in my league or interested in me. Cause I thought I was a little too edgy for you. And I thought you would be like a prude. And then just cause you were like Mr. Perfect, like,
no,
but I mean, like you, again, now I know work Shane. You were very, like you held it together very well. But then one of the nights we were playing volleyball at the end of an outdoor school day, and I was playing like some country music or something. And then you started like dancing, and then like you did something or you knew one of the songs and you were like doing funny moves. No, I was like, oh, this guy is not like a prude. Okay. So he like can live, like he's not like I live under a rock. So I think that was the point where I was like, oh, maybe he would be interested in me. I don't know.
Yep.
Like that kind of just like took the
Once
separation.
You just realized I was a normal person with a sense of humor.
Yeah.
Then you're like, oh wow, maybe there is something there.
Yeah.
Yep. I remember that summer because you didn't finish on summer staff.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. So you just worked like outdoor school and then like counseled at camp,
mm-hmm.
like 1 or 2 of the weeks or whatever.
Yeah.
And I remember I intentionally put you on Coons's team. So Evan Coons, he's one of our board members actually, but he's been like a best friend of mine for a long time. And I remember that was like my subtle kind of like vetting process. because I knew like you guys would be around each other a lot then. So then if he like thought highly of you at the end of the week and kind of gave me like a thumbs up, I was going to like ask you on a date again.
Yeah.
Or like actually ask you this time.
Which now knowing Evan, like honestly thinking back, like really hard critic right there.
Yeah.
Like he's like super nice, but I know he seriously is like so grounded.
Yeah.
That if there was one slip
like,
up, he'd be like, absolutely not.
Yeah. Somebody whose opinion like I really value. That's why he's on the board. But also like, why he's always been a good friend. So I remember after the week kind of like asking him like, hey, I'm pretty interested in Becca. Like, what do you think? And he was like, oh, dude, yeah. Like, I could see that. Yeah, go for it.
Thank you, Evan.
Yeah. So he gave me like the thumbs up. And then we went on our first date probably like pretty shortly after that.
Yeah, and we were so secretive.
Yeah, well, that was again, because of like the camp, just kind of like culture and everything. Like it was something like, I didn't want to kind of like make a big deal out of, like if it didn't just go anywhere, and we knew like it was going to get a reaction, I guess, from a lot of people. And so we just like wanted to try to go about it like wisely.
Make sure it was legit.
Yeah.
Before, and we just like had never hung out one-on-one together. So that was kind of, I mean, our first date was the whole time I was like in denial that it was a date. I still looked at it as like, I totally like this guy more than a friend, but like we're totally just friends. Yeah.
And that date was, we just went to get tacos.
Yeah.
But we ended up being there for like 3.5 hours, just like talking. And then I remember
we got kicked out because they were closing.
Mm-hmm. So we had to go back. And I remember like your family had just been in like some little accident or something. So
on their way to camp.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I do remember that. So then I had to take you back home. And I remember like we talked like in the driveway for another 3 hours. And then it was like, oh, you should like go inside. And so then went inside and then talked with your family for another 3 hours. I just remember it was like over 9 hours, like for this like first date. Mm-hmm. And then I remember like going back home and our yellow lab, Samson, had peed like multiple times.
Because your parents weren't home.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yep. I was supposed to let him out and definitely didn't. So had to clean up some dog pee, but it was worth it. And I honestly feel like I knew at that point, I was like confident that like we would for sure date, but I feel like I was confident like we would actually get married at that point.
Same. Was that that was the date where I came home and made that comment to my mom? I'm pretty sure. Yeah. She asked me like, how'd the day go or something like that. And I was like, I'm pretty sure I just went on like my first date with my husband.
Yeah.
And of course my mom was.
Yep. Well, because your mom like was my wingman.
Yeah.
After
the day I broke up with my first ever boyfriend.
Yeah.
I'm in my room crying like a dramatic baby over nothing, by the way. And she comes in, she's like, you deserve better than this. No. You need someone like Shane. And just went down the whole thing. And I was like, shut up, Mom. It's like, I was like, what are you talking about? Like, we only see each other at camp. I don't know what you're talking about.
But yeah, again, like I had known your younger sister.
Yeah, Lydia.
Yeah, Lydia, when she was like a junior camper and I was a counselor. So
she
was actually like the first one of the family that I knew.
She's known you the longest.
Yep. And so, your family was like familiar with me.
Yeah.
But yeah, not like they knew me super well.
No.
But I do think it's funny that, your mom
it was still a reach for
comment.
her to bring you up in that time. Because it's like that was pre-outdoor school.
Yep.
Where we like actually spent, again, like 5 weeks together.
If it was, I keep thinking it might not have been 5 weeks, but.
It was long.
Because I do think it was all of May and the beginning of June. So I think it was, but.
I think it was something like that.
Anyways, so started dating in 2018. Yeah. Yeah. And then, like I said, pretty confident. Like we had like serious relationship conversations, like very early on.
By our third date, we had the define the relationship conversation, but ours was define the relationship because like are you going to marry me?
You.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, are we dating to marry each other?
Yeah.
So third date got that confirmed.
Yep.
And then we're dating.
And so that was still like in the summer, and then the spring of the next year.
April 25th. You know, I remember
day.
that.
Yeah. Wasn't that from
Miss Congeniality?
Okay.
Describe your perfect day. And she goes, April 25th, because it's not too hot and it's not too cold. And all you need is a light jacket or a light sweater or something.
Yep. So, yeah, you had just been visiting family in Pennsylvania for like a month. And I remember you had a pretty hefty expectation that I was going to like propose right when you got back.
Sure
so
did.
I naturally did not do it then. And then...
setting the tone early.
Yeah. And then we went to breakfast.
At Turnaround, our go-to spot.
Yeah. And I remember you just gave me a little lecture of how like we missed our timing. And if like we wanted the wedding that you really wanted, then like I missed it because now it wasn't going to happen. And I knew I was going to propose that day. And I was just like, yep, like playing along. Also, yeah, I was like dressed nicely. That should have been an indicator, but it wasn't.
Or were you just not in a graphic tee and your t-shirt was
I had like a legitimate like
solid color
button up and nice pants, I'm pretty sure.
Really?
I'm pretty sure. Maybe I'm confusing different times, but
I think you are, but it's okay.
Okay.
We can pretend.
Yep. But yeah, so then I proposed at the camp. I was living out there at that point.
Yeah.
Because I graduated from college. I was there full time. And I had a trail cam kind of like in this back section because there were some black-tailed deer that came through close to the pond. And I had just mowed out there. And so
Which
I remember...
it was like a big ordeal. Like the mowing was kind of like an inside joke of itself because it just took forever. But then you like kind of enjoyed it. Mm-hmm. So it was like a whole thing of like...
Yeah, because it was a riding lawnmower. I was like living my Forrest Gump
like you
dreams.
got like you get so proud of like what you had just mown. What? Whoa.
Mowed.
Wait, what? Okay, continue.
So yeah, I remember like saying like, oh, let's go to the trail camera. And I was like, oh, I just like mowed the path over here. And this was again, you're kind of like, yeah, cool.
I was like, wow.
But I was like walking us over to this like open, like enclosed
barn.
Yeah, barn. Mm-hmm. And so I had like rose petals on the ground. We had been writing each other in journals like when you were gone for that month. And so I had the journal there with kind of like this like engagement note, written out, had the ring there. And then I had bought you a bow. Yeah. That was part of the proposal. And I remember like walking up and you're just like walking with your head down. And
I had a hat on. So I was like, my vision was blocked.
And we get to like the part of the barn where like you should be able to see everything. And I'm like looking up and you're like not reacting at all. And then I look and you still just like have your head down. So I like squeeze your hand.
I'd be an awful hunter.
And then you look up and then, I guess, what were your first thoughts?
Yeah, I look up and I see all of it. Which, like, it wasn't like it was like so crazy, but in a barn, it's like there's fresh rose petals.
You're roasting me.
There was like little candles on like the back bookshelf. I didn't see the bow because you had hung it on the side of the barn. So and this stuff was like set up like more in the middle. And then there was a table with flowers. And then I walked over and it was, the journals that we had been using to write each other because the time difference was like sometimes extreme where we weren't always able to catch up with each other. And you had the journal you wrote for me open to a page. And I was supposed to read it, which was like, I love it, but also like knowing me, like the whole reading comprehension of it all. Yeah. Like I was just like trying to like get through it just to like acknowledge you. And I'm like, I'm a slow reader. And like with all this going on, like I'm going to have to reread these pages like 10 times to actually comprehend what they're saying. But yeah, I don't remember. I'm so irked. I know that we tried to keep the journals.
Yeah.
And I had one of them found, but I think it's the one I wrote to you.
Oh, really?
I don't remember. But like, I'm convinced we still have them.
I'm pretty sure we do.
But yet I haven't been able to find one of them in all of the moves that we've done. Like, whatever. But anyways, and he had the ring, which the ring was also special because that was my grandma on my mom's side. It was her ring. She's kind of the matriarch of our family. Not kind of. Was the matriarch of our family. And yeah, she just never wore her ring forever and ever and ever. So then I was like, I would use that as my ring. I love it. It's like nice and sentimental. It's perfect size. So yeah, that was sitting on the table. And then, yeah, I don't even know. Did you ask me? Like,
yeah.
Okay. I was like, I don't even know what you said at that point, which I kind of love that you did write it down and I had to read it because now we know. Like, that's all the stuff that like people almost like black out and are not remembering. So you just said it all on paper.
No, but then I did ask you though. I said stuff out loud.
And then I was probably a goober and I was like,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah. So we got engaged.
Yep, got
April
engaged.
25th.
April 25th. We got married September 19th of that same year. Yeah. So a pretty quick engagement, but honestly, like that's like what we wanted. Again, we knew we were going to get married. We knew we weren't going to have some huge extravagant wedding. Like the wedding day is special, but again, like the whole point is for a marriage together. Yeah. And so I'm very glad that we did things the way we did. Yeah. We had a lot of people like help out in different ways, and
because we could talk about our marriage counseling too.
Catering, and helping with that. Like, yeah, even our honeymoon, like somebody kind of like gifted us their time, like a week timeshare type deal. So
my cousin gifted us like our first like cabin for after the wedding. We got like an Airbnb cabin.
Yep. So like, yeah, I'm very thankful for how it was. Like I wouldn't have wanted a crazy expensive, huge deal. Yeah. Wedding. Like our wedding was very nice, but I feel like we did a lot kind of like on the budget, Yeah.
I also think part of the reason it was so nice was like the intent behind it and the people who were there, not as much like what the flowers look like, what this look. Because at the end of the day, it rained on our outdoor wedding. So it was cold. Not during, but leading up to it. So it was cold and muddy anyways, but people still showed up and showed out.
Yep.
The dancing was good. Yeah. The food was good.
Yeah.
Our cake was phenomenal.
Yep. But yeah, it was just like, again, like a very Christ-centered wedding. Yeah. And like you had kind of just mentioned too, like our premarital counseling up to that point with Chris was like excellent. And I feel like a lot of those conversations we had already had, but again, it just pointed to the intention of like the wedding day and of our marriage as well, that like we're coming together because like we believe like God has brought us together and that we want God to be the center of our marriage. So
just setting the expectations of, the whole premarital counseling was, I'm a sinner and Shane is a sinner and he is not going to fulfill my needs to the extent that I'm going to want him to ever. He should always strive for that, but he will never reach that.
Yep. Yeah. Like truly we're never going to be enough for each other.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like that is a role only Jesus
and are
can
we
actually
committing ourselves to that? Like, am I committing to be with you while you never reach that?
Right. So we got married in September. And then, I feel like even as we were married, you originally thought like you didn't want to have kids for like 2 years.
Well, yeah.
And I remember we were probably like 4 or 5 months into marriage and you're like, I think I'm ready to start trying like for a kid.
Were we 4 to 5 months?
Yeah.
That's actually wild. It did not feel like that.
Because we got pregnant with Selah, I think 6 months in to marriage.
The following April. right?
No. March.
Would that have been March?
Yep.
Oh.
Because she was born in December.
Yeah.
So September.
So math.
6 months after.
Yes, we get it.
March. I get it. Do you get it?
We get it.
So yeah, didn't take long. But again, like that was something that I had always wanted to be a dad, like felt very strongly about that. You had always wanted to be a mom, felt very strongly about that. And so it wasn't like a surprise that we would like start our family early. I wasn't shocked, I guess, at that point. Right after, or pretty shortly after our wedding, like I had kind of known at that point, like camp wasn't going to be like my long-term like career or job. And so I switched jobs. So left Camp Tapawingo, then started working for the Oregon Youth Authority and got a job at a youth correctional facility. And then was there for like a year and 9 months or something like that. And so when Selah was 6 months old, then at this point, so this would have been 2020, kind of in the not tail end, but like the midst, I guess, of COVID.
Yeah, she was a COVID baby.
Yep. I remember there was like some movement on different units kind of at this facility, and my unit manager was recommending me for a promotion actually. And I've described this as like, it's like when you're dating the girl and you either marry her or break up with her. But like there's kind of like a point, you know, where you got to like
commit or get out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I felt like for the work at the facility, if I would have like stuck around and, you know, moved up, been promoted, it would have been committing to something that I knew I really didn't want to commit to long term. And so that started a lot of our conversations, just like for really what we wanted as a family and where we wanted to be, what kind of lifestyle, you know, we were after and things like that. And
like going on the lifestyle, just like super quickly, like because of our transition out of like you working at camp and us being newlyweds there. And then also like what led us out of this transition was we knew that we didn't want our lives to like revolve around your work. Like you are a hard worker and you're like committed to that, but not to the detriment of like your family and meeting the needs of like your wife and your kids come first. And so that's why we knew camp life wasn't going to be for us, because we were like, oh yeah, like there's a busy season and then there's a slow season, but at the same time, like that busy season is not what, like we don't want to sacrifice our family life because of the demands of work. And then being in this job, it became a new thing of like your health, like mental health, of just like the heaviness of it. Again, like I think you could have done it, but I do think it would have sacrificed a side of you that like your family needed, that you weren't able to give while being in that job. Yeah.
Because it's definitely like a rough environment, obviously, like working in a correctional facility, even from like a staff perspective, like coworkers weren't the best. Like that dynamic was often pretty bad as well. And then, yeah, you're just responding to pretty significant things, seeing some pretty significant things, and kind of like never knowing like what's going to happen, I guess. Like there's that, aspect of like, you got to be ready to respond to something on like a moment's notice. And whether that's a fight or
you come pretty away, like robotic.
Like, yeah. But so thought about kind of like where we wanted to be as a family. And I had visited Montana, like I'd visited Kalispell in college. And I remember like the pace of life, like always stuck out to me. But then like the outdoors, like to me, it felt like Oregon 2.0.
Yeah.
Like the things that I did love about Oregon, but it's like more extreme. Like there's mountains, but like the mountains are even more rugged, you know, like it's like forests, but like even bigger forests. And it's, like everything just seemed like bigger and better than what I'd experienced in Oregon. But then pair that with like slower pace of life, smaller towns, you know, like that kind of an environment. And so I started looking for jobs like in the Kalispell area, but then also I remember like looking at like state jobs in Helena, just kind of like seeing like what's there. And there's a job at a therapeutic boarding school that just really talked about like mentoring youth in the outdoors, where I was like, oh man, like that seems like me in a nutshell, you know, like that would be so good. And so like sent in an application, and then I remember like didn't hear back for a couple of weeks and just kind of thought like, oh, like they must have, you know, moved on or something like that. And then got a call from them. They wanted to like scheduled the interview. And then it was like things just like moved so fast from there, where yeah, it was essentially like at the end of the interview, they're like, yeah, we would love to hire you. I was like, oh my goodness. Like,
yeah.
Okay. So then it was all like time frame. What does housing look like? Because yeah, we were in an apartment at that point.
Yeah.
Again, with Selah just being 6 months old. And then, yeah, they had a house like in town that they were going to rent out to us. It's like, even that felt like a huge provision from God. Cause we were looking and it looked like there was houses for sale, but then anytime we would like contact an agent about them, everything was actually under contract and just like wasn't showing it.
Yeah.
It's like pretty much every house was accounted for. And yeah, just didn't seem like there was a lot of options at that point. And so, yeah, for them to have a house to rent to us was like, yeah, it felt like God just connecting all of the dots to us.
Meeting the needs.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I'd be curious to know, like, you had never been to Montana. Like, what was it like for you moving out?
I mean, yeah, I feel like that's something that we always say about our story, is that each new like transition and step like God has asked us to take, I'm like affirmed that it's the right thing to do because of like where we've been before, like by our previous steps. So it was like being at camp like transitioned us into you being at the correctional facility, and then being at those two places for work transitioned us for you to take this job in Montana. And at that point, like the reason that we had a kid like early on in our marriage is because we had said like, we have no excuse not to. Both of our families are here and we have all the help that we need. And then she's 6 months old and now we're about to leave all of that.
Yeah.
And so now it's like, oh my gosh, like I have zero help, zero support, not in like in a physical way, not in like a, we support you, we love you, you know, praying for you, you know, that stuff. But, and my family was getting ready to move to Idaho at this point also. So there was already kind of like that realization of like, they're not going to be here anymore. What could it hurt? I feel like I just trusted you on it. I always knew like what I had heard about Montana always sounded great to me. So I was never opposed to it. And especially knowing like the lifestyle we wanted for our family, like we just want to be different than the world. We wanted them to grow up in God's creation. And like, yeah, it just made more sense. And it felt like we weren't going to be getting that anytime soon in Oregon. And so I was like, yeah, I don't see the lifestyle we're wanting for our family like happening here. So I just trusted it. I know, I don't think I was like even scared at any point. I think there was a bit of like, I always sometimes am a head case in the unknown of things because I just like to be prepared. But yeah, I just had a peace about all of it. And the house that we were able to be in was huge, like much bigger than we needed. And so I think even that was just like, oh my gosh, like we're good. Like all of my stuff is here with me and guess we're figuring this out. And then I guess a part of our story too is like, ironically, next door neighbors next to us, Nate and Morgan Pritchard.
Yep.
We met them moving in and they were just like so friendly and they offered to help. And it was just one of those like great connections that we really needed at that time. And I remember like soon after we had moved in, we're like familiar with them, interacted a little bit. They like got a puppy. They got Clover as a puppy. And so it's like we had this 6-month-old daughter and then they just got a puppy. So then we were like, you know, with our little children or whatever, interacting. And yeah, they play a big role in the community that we have gotten connected to and where we're at now. So they always, you know, love them so much for that. And we like, I don't know where we would be with our community connections if we had not connected with them first.
That's true. Cause the church that I'm currently working at, they were the ones that introduced us there.
Yeah.
Cause we had been going somewhere else for like 6 months, just felt like we weren't getting connected. And so they're like, oh, you should come to East Haven, like come where we're going.
Yeah.
Like, we've really loved it there. And so we went with them and then, just instantly felt like, wow, this is like a welcoming family that, it felt like home to me, honestly, like when we got there, but so significant, like truly, again, like one of those pieces that we believe, like, you know, I wouldn't say it's a coincidence that the house that they rented to us was just happened to be next door to Nate and Morgan, and they
not at all.
just happened to introduce us to East Haven. And, you know, like all those things, I think God was for sure in the details of it all. So we lived there for, I don't even remember how long.
I don't remember.
But then there was an opportunity for us to move on campus, like out at my work that had now kind of shifted from this therapeutic boarding school to like a short-term residential treatment center. And I would say there is really when that kind of lifestyle we were hoping to have for our kids, like really kicked off, where, it's like we just had like instant access to the outdoors. And
we were like 60 minutes outside of town.
Yeah. Probably like not quite.
Depending on how fast you drive.
Depending on how fast and the weather, like it all.
I mean, for real.
Was dependent. Yeah. I mean, there was times, we could
45 minutes on a good day.
Yeah. But we loved it out there. And like, our kids saw deer, elk, bear.
Yeah. We still talk about it.
Yeah.
Like that is, I guess our family goal would be to end up somewhere like that.
Yep.
It was amazing. We had great family time. It was one of those, though, you find out who your real friends are when you live out there. Because hardly anybody came to see us. Yeah.
Well, I remember even when my Uncle Gary and Aunt Gail came out, they're like, man, you should get a Boy Scout badge for making it out here.
Honestly. And it is crazy to think I would go into town for groceries. Like, it was just nothing to me. Right. And I loved the drive. I could listen to my podcast. Like, it was so beautiful. Like, I remember once we moved in, like, my heart broke a little bit. I was like, ugh, like that season of life. Like, I hope that wasn't like the end, but just like knowing that we want that again and that we're capable of doing it. But when we were living out there is when we were really, that was like the year we started to make real connections at our church at East Haven. And so we had like our young adults, or not young adults, young marrieds is what they were called. Our little like small group or whatever that Joey and Debbie would host. And so we met a lot of young families, young marrieds there that are still like very much a part of our life today. And our kids are kind of growing up together, which is really awesome. And then we also started serving in the youth group because it was a point that we reached where we were starting to make connections, it was like, we had our small group people with the young marrieds, with the little kids and like Joey and Debbie. And then we would go to church on Sunday and we would sit in the same section every week. And so naturally we started to get to know people in the same section who sat in the row, you know, the same row every Sunday or roughly every Sunday. And so we started to really build a community and take ownership of being at East Haven. And then we started realizing we wanted to get back into working with kids again. And the easiest way to do that was just serving in the youth group.
Yeah.
Because it's minimal commitment for us. We were like, all we have to do is drive here Selah gets childcare.
Yep.
And we only have to, it's like 2 hours a night?
Yeah.
Or a Wednesday night?
Yep. And that was something like you had grown up doing.
Yeah.
Like, again, like through camp, I had been doing, and I was still working like with high school age students at the program, but this was like a good,
lighthearted,
just a completely different environment. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we started working with 6th graders, and yeah, it was just good to see like innocent kids again. Cause I just hadn't, for the last few years.
Well, and like the faith aspect too.
Yep.
Like at your work, it's like, it was a lot more living out Christ and like Christ's love and the gospel than it was being able to talk about it, So, which was, I feel like, kind of heavy on you because it was like a blatant need and the chaos and the darkness.
Yeah.
That would sometimes be there is like, oh my gosh, like they just need to know about Jesus and like how he views
just
them.
Have some like legitimate hope. Everything else felt pretty temporary and like short-sighted and like inconsistent, I guess. Like it was like ungrounded, So to have like faith in Jesus who is unchanging and who is constant, like who is a legitimate source of hope, there was, to me, like, that was the missing piece.
For sure.
So it was good. Yeah. When the opportunity came up to then transition out of the program and into the church, like, again, to me, like it entirely seemed like God's movement and direction in our lives.
Yep.
Because I would say like my plan like didn't fit that. But
yeah. And
like,
now you can work
in
with
hindsight, like it was very much like God kind of like pushing me outside of my own plans and ideas into like what he had for me.
Yeah. And now you get to work with high schoolers and have this amazing perspective that some people might be scared of that you see them for what they probably are actually going through.
Yep.
With the dysfunctional family dynamics, with trauma, with mental health issues. Like all of your jobs that you worked were molding you to like have that knowledge and experience potentially for this purpose. And Holy Mountain.
Yeah, for sure.
So
just to know like what the real needs are, right? Like I've kind of said, like I've seen like the underbelly of like what can happen to a high school kid. And I think there is some aspect where like stereotypically, like if all you do is go to school and study ministry and then you go to seminary and then you work at a church, like you don't have that same perspective. And so like I was definitely like shown a lot and taught a lot in those past jobs that I've had that I know like inform my current role and like inform what I want to do with Holy Mountain and for like what's actually like hopefully going to lead to meaningful impact.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, that's where you're still at currently.
Yep. That's where we're at right now. Again, like I feel like every situation has been just until God makes it clear, like there's something else or like there's a different step to take,
Right.
So.
And he sure does make it clear.
Yeah.
We just have to be willing to obey that.
Yeah. And so we're just holding steady, but again, like just continuously kind of like working Holy Mountain on the back burner.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just stirring it as much as we can.
Yep. Okay.
But that's what we have for this episode. I'd love, again, if people do have like questions for us, if they want to know, other details about our story, drop some comments in the meantime, but leave us with our nature nugget.
Nature nugget. Okay, here's the quote to end us off. By A.W. Tozer. How satisfying to turn our limitations to a God who has none.
It's good.
No. And that's pretty much how you can sum up our story.
Yeah.
For real.
Yep.
All right. Thank you for listening.
Yep. Thanks, guys. See you next time.
Bye.